Hello students, welcome back. So in continuation to AWS Networking series, last chapter I demonstrated how to create VPC and I also gave you review about various VPC components. So now as a next step, I will show you here that how we will be creating instances in private subnet and public subnet. So in our previous chapter, I demonstrated you that we created 4 subnets, one in AP South 1A availability zone and 2 we created in AP South 1B. So one subnet as public and one subnet as private. So this is how we created 4 subnets in the previous chapter. Now before we progress further, it's important that you understand few important terminologies, and you also have to have a clear understanding that what kind of network you are going to create and what is the requirement. So for that, now I'm going to just consider this a very small, very simple topology, that let's say you have one application and you want to access the EC2 instances for that application, or you want to host application instances. So you have a web server where your direct access will be allowed, so that will be kept in public subnet, and then there is your application instances where application logic is sitting plus your databases, so all those will be under private subnet so that they are not reachable directly via internet, just to make your environment more secure. So to achieve this, now we have to consider few more things. So the first step is, let's say you create instances and then you have to access that via SSH on port 22. So how do we allow this using security list? That is what now I will demonstrate you, and we will create one instance in public subnet. Now before we actually start implementing it, it is also important that you have certain names already listed so that you know it's easy for you to get started. So for example, let's see here, like what will be the naming convention for your VMs, that instances, EC2 instances you will be creating, what will be your security group. So I usually start with, let's say, SG, and then this is how I used to start. So once we have these names in place, then we can just get started. So we are going to start with AP South 1A, and we will be creating one EC2 instance under public subnet. CIDR block that we have selected in previous chapter is 10.0.0.0/28. So let's get started. Now I will be just launching my AWS console, and here you see this is the landing screen for VPC, as I had demonstrated earlier also. If you go to VPC, then you will see here it will be showing you all the networking components which are falling under VPC. So you see here there are 2 VPCs, there are total 7 subnets, there are 5 routing tables, there are 2 internet gateways, there are 2 network ACLs, and there are 4 security groups. So all these are the ones that we created in our previous demo, and they are coming in higher number because by default there was one default VPC and one we created as non-default VPC. So if we click here, you see there are 2 VPCs. This is the default one and this is the one we created. And if I just go back again to previous screen, you will see here total 7 subnets. There are total 5 route tables, and if you go here, then just go to routes, you see here. So this routing table is coming here from the subnet that we have selected. So like, let's say if I'm selecting now public subnet, then the public subnet has this route table where it is defining that internet gateway is attached, and this internet gateway is allowing traffic towards internet. So that means if we are having any EC2 instance or any server within the public subnet, then through internet gateway it is able to reach the internet. And then the another one is destination local. So that means all the local EC2 instances within the same network, they are able to reach each other. So this is how the route is defined here, and this is the one we will be using when we will be creating the EC2 instance. So now, since you have this bit of understanding about it, and you also know the internet gateway, you need to know the naming convention you have opted. Let's say there might be a scenario where you are using multiple internet gateways, so then the naming convention is important. So here, let's say in our previous demo we created VPC CS365 demo internet gateway, and we will be using this one to get started, which is, so this is by default mapped to non-default VPC. So let's go to EC2 instance, and now we'll launch instance from here. I will give a name to this EC2 instance, And as we had just taken a look here like this, let's say we want to give maybe we can say it, let's say something logical. Let's make it, I will call it pub srv1, and I select it. So since we have name, I select here, and I'm putting it here now. Next is to select operating system, then the free tier image I will opt here. Then the instance type is T2 micro. Security, the key pair I had created in previous demo, so I'm selecting the same one. Please just listen to the videos that where I have explained about the key pair and how we created it. This is important now, network settings, because now we do not want to go for default one, rather we have to select here the ones as per our requirement. So we had created non-default VPC and the name is demo VPC. We select this one. Subnet, we want to have it in South 1A. That's correct one. Still, let's double check here. Yes, South 1A. And then it is saying auto assign public IP. Yes, of course, this is going to be our public EC2 instance for web services. So I want to enable it so that it associate one public IP and we can SSH into this server. Security group, I will be using existing security group where I have allowed SSH already. So this is the one. You can also have option to create new one if you want. Then advanced network settings, we leave this default for now. So network interface card and all those settings are not needed as of now, and we will proceed further. Configuring storage, I will make it 15 GB. So just always review that what settings you have chosen, and then you can just proceed further. So everything looks okay. We have correct key pair, we have correct VPC, subnet, we have enabled IP address here, public IP address, and then now let's launch the instance. So it will take few moments and then our instance will be ready. Now what you can do is you can either go to EC2 instance, or you can simply, because if you want to see the running instances, you can also go here. And as of now it's still coming up, so let's wait for a moment. So now you see here one instance is running. I go here, pubs srv1. If I click here, let's take this public address copied, and now I will be starting it from my shell. From previous demo I had this one, but here now since IP address is changed, what I'm going to do is I will be just simply changing the IP address, because otherwise I'm still using the same private key. So yes, and now it will ask for passphrase that I have set. You need to remember it, and there we go. So now as per the topology that we discussed here, like as per this one, now in our public subnet we have created one EC2 instance and we are able to SSH into it. Now if I go back again here, so if you want to see the security list, you go to security section here, and you see here this is the security group associated. If you click on this security group, you will see here what are the rule allowed here. So you see there is one rule defined, that is SSH. So it is allowing it, or it is enabling us to access it. If you click here edit in one rule, you see here that any source can reach on SSH to this server. So this, because that is the public subnet, but of course you can also change it to, let's say, one-to-one IP mapping. If you want, you have your office network, or you just, let's say you want to make it selected IPs, just delete it and make it here the selected one. For now I'm canceling it. So this was the first step where we created one EC2 instance, and that EC2 instance is created in one availability zone. And in the next chapter now I will be creating another EC2 instance, but that will be the private subnet, so that that is not accessible through the internet gateway. So thanks, and see you in my next chapter.
So subscribe, like, and hit bell icon to my channel. Thank you.